What is up, you gorgeous, fabulous creatures, and welcome to another episode of the Losing It podcast. This is the place where emotional eating comes to die and weight loss gets resurrected. So if you are tired of the all or nothing mentality, honey, you are in the right place, because today I am sharing with you 10 reasons that you probably don't even know about that have been crawling around all over your booty and they're keeping you fat. Sounds so weird. No, 10 reasons, 10 ways that binge eating, emotional eating, overeating showing up in your life, and you probably don't even know about it because you've just zoned out to it. You think it's you. You think you're hopeless. It isn't you. It's not you. You're fucking fabulous, honey. You're iconic. Let me share these with you. I'm going to run through them really fast because, as you know, we like to keep it short and sweet around here. Everybody's very busy. Like I say, we're busy being iconic. I don't have time to sit around listening to a podcast 45 minutes long. I've got other things to do with my day. So let me shove this down your throat so that you can get on with being fabulous. Because the first way that you are having overeating, emotional eating, binge eating show up in your life that you're probably not even paying attention to, and this is so common, is mindless eating binges. That's where you're just eating continuously, like while you're watching TV. It's mindless. Hello. You're scrolling on your phone, popping something in your mouth. You're working at work, pop something in your mouth while you're at the desk. You're barely registering how much you're consuming. And while we're on that, let me give you a really quick tip. The average mouthful or biteful, not even mouthful, but like the average bite of random food like that, when you're just walking past the desk at work and somebody's put some lollies there, so you just shove one in your mouth, the random bite of food, all those little things that we think don't count, where you just take a bite from the kids' chips or things like that, the average calorie count is 50 calories. You do that 5 or 6 times a day, and then add that up over the course of a week. Now you're wondering why you're gaining 3-4 kilos a month. It's pretty fucking easy to decipher. Okay, so you need to get a grip on this. I'm going to tell you what to do about it afterwards. So mindless eating is the first way. The second way is your traditional emotional eating, binging, like that kind of thing, where you're using food to cope with stress or anxiety or chronic loneliness or just any fucking emotion, really. Instead, anything that isn't true hunger. I have such a gorgeous friend. We've been besties forever, and she's probably maybe, 25 kilos overweight maybe. And she said to me, I know, Kylie, but I'm not an emotional eater. I'm like, babe, nobody is carrying any extra weight on their body if they're only eating purely just out of physiological hunger. It's just not a thing. We all are emotional eaters. Every single one of us, even the skinny ass people out there, they still emotionally eat. Everybody eats just for pure pleasure, and that's perfectly fine. But when it starts interfering with your everyday life, your ability to feel comfortable with your partner in the bedroom, your ability to feel good in your clothes, like now I'm too ashamed to go to the gym because I'm too fat to go to the gym. Like I've had clients and people say to me, I'm going to lose weight, and then after I lose weight, then I'll go to the gym. I'm like, what? Like, what did you just say? Can you please rewind and repeat that back to me? Because that is insane. The whole point of going to the gym is to get into the fitness mindset and get into the vibe that you want to be in. We don't get skinny to go to the gym. It's like saying, I'm going to get skinny and then I'll start looking after myself. It's like, no, you start looking after yourself so that you can lose the weight. So that's the second reason. It's the emotional eating that we do. And I could talk about any one of these points all day long, but I want to give you 10 really fast so that you can see, oh man, I didn't realize I knew I was doing the emotional, but I didn't even think about the mindless, because that's the first two. Then the third one, and this is something that not all of us engage in. This is more of your traditional binge eaters have planned binges. This is where I know it sounds really weird and random, but you consciously decide in advance, that's it, today's been fucked. And when I go home, I'm going to the shops, I'm going to get all my favorite foods and I'm stocking up and I'm just going to sit down tonight and eat. It's much more subtle than you think it would be, like a planned binge. Am I sitting down making a shopping list? No, you're not. But you have resigned yourself to the fact that this is happening and I'm just going to be okay with it because I'm going to go get all my favorite foods and I'm going to have the binge, and then tomorrow I'll get back on track. That's the third way that it's showing up in your life. Now, the fourth way is grazing binges. This is really similar to emotional eating. It's where you're just kind of eating small amounts continuously throughout the day, but you're not making great food choices. So it's leading to, in the end, quite an excessive calorie intake, but you never had the traditional binge episode, even though you probably did consume maybe upwards of 3,000 or 4,000 calories throughout the day because your food choices were not the best that nothing's the worst. Nobody should ever feel bad. You should feel free to eat whatever you want to eat, but understand the price tag attached, like we spoke about a week or so ago. Understand the price tag attached. You can graze on chocolate all day long, that's fine, but you'll probably consume 4,000 to 5,000 calories. So just get it right. Don't get it twisted. The fifth way that we emotional eat or binge eat is the secret binges. I have been such a victim of this my whole life. I was all about the secret binging, hiding food, eating food alone. I would lock myself in cupboards to eat the food so that nobody would find me. I would be squirreling down around under piles of coats to eat food so that nobody would see me, sneaking around late at night so that you don't get judgment from others. That's what it's all about. Your own judgment in those scenarios, honey. Your own judgment is so fucking crippling. The last thing we need is anybody else discovering us while we're eating that way. And then, of course, you go ahead and hide the evidence and like screw the wrappers up and put them in a sock drawer, or hide them and put them in like an empty margarine container or something and then throw that in the bin. We don't want anyone to know because basically we're super, super ashamed. Now, the sixth way that these things could be showing up in your life, emotional eating, binge eating, and you're perhaps not really thinking about it and understanding that it is an issue and it is a problem that's holding you back, is nighttime binging. This is going to be the last thing I ever let go of because it's the hardest thing for me, where you overeat at night or eat excessively at night. And it's usually the result, not always, but very often the result of restricting food throughout the daytime. It doesn't necessarily have to be for conscious reasons, like I'm not going to eat all day and then I'll stuff my face tonight. It's not usually like that. It's usually like, oh, I'm so busy. I'm just so busy. I don't have time to eat. And yeah, sometimes that's super true and really valid. But what it does do is it puts you in the position for nighttime binge eating, where you do end up excessively eating at night and consuming way more calories than you would have consumed had you just had regular meals throughout the day. So the seventh way that this shows up for us, and this one is a little more unusual and something we don't often think about, but that's healthy food binges, where you are overeating or binge eating now on quote unquote clean food or healthy foods, but you're still consuming an excessive amount that's way beyond the capacity for your stomach to feel comfortable. You're going way beyond full. And when you do things like that, it really doesn't matter whether you're eating chocolate or whether you're eating fucking kale chips, you're still sending the message to your subconscious that food is the solution to all your problems. Everything must be blocked out with food. And then you wonder why your habit brain keeps kicking up the same like triggers for you. Every time you end up in the same situation, your habit brain is like, well, the last time you did this, you ate a whole box of Wheaties and a whole packet of kale chips. You should just do that again. And you wonder why those urges are so strong, because it could be the first step in you sort of healing yourself from the binge eating mode, could be to switch from complete junk food to healthy food, still binging, but at least we're cleaning up our food choices. None of this we should feel bad about. It's more shining a light on the different ways and the tiny nuances of the different ways that this shows up for us. This fucking bitch, she shows up for us all the time. The eighth way that binge eating and emotional eating shows up for us, and this is one we don't often think about again, is compensatory binging, which is overeating just because you skip meals or you're dieting really, really strictly, which ultimately, I mean, it's all good and fine while it's fine, but eventually you do lose control. We always do. And so then we end up compensating for the small amount of food that we would have eaten. We compensate with mass amounts of usually high caloric food. The ninth way that emotional eating and binge eating could be showing up in your life, and this one again is quite common, is post-stress binges, where feeling in control during a stressful event is sort of really hard and really challenging, and then you might be able to pull it off, but as soon as the event passes, then the pressure is relieved and binging kicks in. So that one again is quite tricky. We think, oh, it's just some stress in my life and it will pass. And it's fine. And yes, it will. But the next stressful event is just around the corner, honey. She's not going any fucking where. So we don't want to be living like that. And the last way that I've got here anyway, because if there's more, feel free to pop into my DMs over on Insta and let me know if there's a different way that this is showing up for you. But this is the 10th one that I've come up with. And this one is quite common and yet really spooky at the same time. And that's social binging or social overeating and emotional eating. And it's what happens when we're in those social settings because of peer influence or just food availability or feeling like you deserve to overeat or binge eat or quote unquote indulge because everybody else is eating it. FOMO can be really, really strong at this time as well. Well, we're splitting the bill. If I don't eat now, I'm not going to get it and then I'll have to pay for it, but I never got to eat it. All these factors play a role. So I want you to know that if any of this sounds familiar today, there is a way out because I probably weaved my way through every single one of these 10 different types of emotional eating throughout my 30-year hell with binge eating, overeating, and emotional eating. And I probably spent, maybe a few years in each one of these different slots. But thankfully, the way out isn't as complex as what is going on the inside. The way out is really, really simple. And I use the 5 eating codes that I now teach all of my clients. I give them away in my free video series. So you can grab that. Just hit the link in the show notes. All you have to do is follow each one of the 5 steps that I lay out in the free course. So let me give them to you like super quickly. So the first eating code that will help you with each one of these scenarios is really simple. I'm not saying it's going to feel comfortable all the time, but that's what you want. The whole point of why we are binge eating and overeating and emotional eating is because we're trying to avoid discomfort, but we fucking put ourselves in a discomfort anyway, in an uncomfortable situation anyway, because now we're dealing with extra weight and medical issues and we're just so disappointed in ourselves. So the first eating code is eat when you're hungry and don't eat when you're not. And the minute you implement this code, you're going to have all the reasons that you used to stuff down with food are going to come screaming to the surface. And that's great. You want that. Don't run afraid. You want that to happen because you want to be able to decipher them and see them for the bullshit that they are. The second eating code is to follow your plan and not your mood. So what I mean by that is I provide you inside of my Bombshell Blueprint, my membership, my private membership, I provide you with I think we've got a 100-page journal and a 150-page planner. And you use those to answer the questions that are on there. I give you a specific blueprint to follow. And that is what is going to help you decipher, again, what emotions are coming up. This is bullshit. I don't need to pay attention to this. And here's how we move through it without feeling like we're half dying on the way through. The third eating code is the magic weight loss code. And if you are only going to do 1 or 2 of the 5 eating codes, this is one that you don't want to miss out. And that's eat to 80% full. Don't fucking go beyond 80. Don't go to 81%. Stop eating at 80% full. That is going to help you lose weight easily and effortlessly, and you don't have to give up any of your favorite foods. The fourth eating code is that your feelings don't get to vote. This is one of my favorite ones as well, because this is the one that you would slather this like peanut butter over every single one of these 10 points that we went through. When you're feeling stressed, when you're feeling bad, when you are having a day where you didn't get a chance to, your feelings don't get to vote. You still better make some fucking savvy food decisions, which is eating code number 2, by the way. You still make savvy food decisions. You still honor your feelings. You still honor your emotions, but you are also honoring your body. And then the 5th eating code, which is beautiful because she covers everything like a glittery blanket, is to act like the person you want to become. Honey, when all else fails and you're like, I don't know, Kylie said something about eating codes. I can't remember what she said. All you have to remember is act like the person you want to become. There is a version of you that exists. And that's your 10x version of you. She's the one who is not ashamed. She's the one who does own how fabulous she is. She's the one who's fucking iconic. And she is waiting for you to catch up to her. But you're so busy stuck in any one of these 10 different ways of emotional eating and binge eating and making fucking excuses left and right. You can't even see her clearly, let alone get close to her. Okay, all I'm going to say, definitely get my free course, kyliepax.com/free course. Hit the link in the show notes or just come and join us inside of the Bombshell Blueprint and I will hold your hand and kick your booty the whole way to the finish line. My darlings, I hope that you are feeling empowered by listening to these podcasts because I want to make sure that not only do you get the information that you need, but you get the keys to freedom as well. It's so, so important. Women have women have been squashed down, silenced, made unimportant, and only valued for the way they looked for centuries. I'm here to tell you there is so much more to you than that. And not only that, but all those other facets are so, so beautiful and so important and need and deserve to be seen. And this is your time and you are ready to step up. Honeys, I'm sending you tremendous amounts of love. As always, the only person who has the power to change your life is you. When you step up and take ownership of any or all of these different ways that you are screwing yourself over with food, and decide that this is no longer the person you're going to be, that there is a 10x version of you and she's fucking gorgeous and she's iconic and she's amazing and bold and brave and you deserve to be her now, that's when you've got what it takes. I am sending you love. I will see you again next week. Until then, gorgeous ones, bye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to shimmy your butt over to kyliepax.com and join me inside of the Bombshell Blueprint so you can stop emotional eating and start losing your weight now. You'll also find helpful notes and resources inside my past podcasts that will help you lose your weight without losing your sanity. I will see you next week.